You are living a modest life. The love of your life is your daughter, and she means the world to you. But what if someone hurts her? More specifically, what if someone kills her? In this video, we delve into the exciting story of The Awakener. This film revolves around the theme of revenge and focuses on a skilled agent who tragically loses his beloved daughter. Driven by grief and a betrayed sense of justice, he embarks on a daring mission to face Brazil and its shadow figures alone. Determined to bring about change, he starts a revolution against those who have corrupted the system. Will he be able to take revenge and finally root out the deep-rooted corruption? The plot of The Awakener starts in a city hall filled with demonstrators, all driven by the suspicion that Governor Correa has misused crucial government funds that were meant for the purchase of essential hospital equipment. The tension escalates when the DAE, an elite armed division, raids the governor's mansion and apprehends him. Agents Miguel and Edu then subject Governor Correa to an intense interrogation, presenting him with a large amount of evidence implicating him in embezzlement. Unexpectedly, a recorded testimony reveals the governor's chilling statement, expressing his willingness to resort to violence to silence anyone who dares to disclose his illegal activities to the public or the authorities. This revelation is the foundation of the exciting battle between justice and corruption that we will see, the fangs of corruption. Meanwhile, in a different scenario, Governor Correa's lawyer arrives at their location, where the man inquires about his family's well-being in Miami. Sensing the possibility of an unavoidable assault related to the robbery case, Governor Correa requests to hire a group of private security guards. Subsequently, the prosecutor's office determined the insufficiency of evidence regarding the alleged embezzlement of medical expenses, leading to the governor's return home, and was under house arrest until the trial. The fangs of corruption have already bored deep into society. Miguel and Edu are dismissed by their boss, and Miguel, upon reaching his home, finds his young daughter peacefully asleep on the couch. Touched by her gratitude and acknowledgement of his efforts to apprehend the villain, Miguel lovingly carries her to bed. The following day, Miguel excitedly prepares to take his daughter to a soccer game, looking forward to a day of cherished memories. However, his plans are abruptly disrupted when his ex-wife unexpectedly arrives at his house, searching for their daughter. As Miguel subsequently arrives at his office, he hears a piece of devastating news from his superiors. They inform him that his position will be terminated, and the responsibility for Governor Correa's affairs, including the control of medical expenses, will be transferred to the military. Another blow for our hero. Despite his anger and frustration, Miguel unwillingly accepts the decisions made by his superiors, knowing that he has no other option. However, his determination to make meaningful memories with his daughter remains unwavering. Edu reminds Miguel of their promise to attend the soccer game, and Miguel rushes to meet his daughter, who eagerly awaits with his ex-wife. Though they are running a bit behind schedule, the happiness on the young girl's face is evident as she anticipates watching the match with her father. In a heartwarming moment, Miguel and his daughter pose for a group photo, both donning Brazil national team uniforms, before hurrying off to the stadium, ready to create lasting memories together. The world starts falling down. Bang! On the way, someone shoots his daughter. Miguel takes his daughter to the hospital for immediate care. However, Miguel suddenly intervenes, and as he walks down the hospital corridor, Miguel sees many patients who have been neglected due to poor hospital facilities and lack of money. Later, Miguel finds his daughter lying weak and helpless in front of the operating room. Miguel's daughter could not be treated quickly because the hospital did not have many wards. So many patients were waiting in line for treatment. Miguel's daughter tragically loses her life due to a lack of immediate treatment and insufficient resources at the hospital. Devastated by the news, Miguel's ex-wife arrives at the hospital, shocked to discover the loss of their beloved child. Edu, overwhelmed by grief and driven by a desire for justice, offers his support to Miguel in finding clues about the shooter and seeking answers. In addition to seeking justice, Miguel decides that he would also become an advocate for improving healthcare facilities, firmly believing that his daughter could have been saved if the hospital had more infrastructure and equipment, preventing neglect and unnecessary suffering leading to tragic outcomes. Miguel, overwhelmed by the tragic events and the perceived injustice surrounding his daughter's death and the state of the hospital, was further devastated when he learns that Governor Correa had been set free of the embezzlement charges. Meanwhile, Correa announces his candidacy for the presidency, promising to allocate more funds to public health and hospitals. Fueled by anger and frustration, Miguel could no longer contain his emotions and joined the crowd of protesters at City Hall. In an attempt to make his voice heard, he confronted the police and attempted to disrupt their efforts by wearing a mask. Retribution. He then barges in the City Hall, and after eliminating his bodyguard, Miguel approaches the man at City Hall who ends up murdering his daughter and the evil governor responsible for her death and kills him. This is the first win for our hero, but little does he know there is another storm coming at him. Elsewhere, billionaire Antero Gomes meets with Minister Marta Regina. The next day, Gomes meets with his political colleagues and asks for the support of his son and his presidential candidate to replace Correa. It seems that the team of fellow politicians were shocked by the nomination, as Gomez's son had no credibility as president. When Gomes heard this, he got angry and threatened to report the bad actions of these politicians to Minister Regina. After a few days, Miguel began to return to work and did not want to fall into a deep depression and sadness after the death of his beloved daughter. Miguel and Edu are asked to investigate a riot that occurred during a protest. Detectives arrested several people suspected of being the ringleaders of the riot, and it appears that Miguel knew one of the suspects and met the woman while working on the case. Miguel approached Nina, introducing himself as an investigative journalist interested in exposing the flaws within the healthcare system. Intrigued, Nina agreed to speak with him, unaware of Miguel's true intentions. During the interview, Miguel subtly steers the conversation towards the corruption that plagues the hospital and the dire consequences it has on patients' lives. Nina, a programmer, shared her insights and revealed shocking details about the hospital's mismanagement and the politicians involved. Nina also reveals that she has a video where it is seen that Miguel was attacking the police at the riot, but as the conversation continues, Nina is taken aback, recognizing the determination in Miguel's eyes. She understood the seriousness of the situation and the importance of exposing the truth. Together, they built an alliance, vowing to expose the corruption that had allowed such injustices to persist. Miguel, desperate to clear his name and retrieve the strong evidence recorded on Nina's cell phone, reluctantly agrees to work with her to investigate the theft of medical supplies and hospital equipment. Realizing the potential implications of the stolen supplies, Miguel understands that exposing the culprits behind this crime could shed light on the deeper issues that haunt the healthcare system. With Nina's assistance, they delve into the dark secrets of corruption and black market dealings, determined to bring the perpetrators to justice and uncover the truth behind the thefts. Their alliance becomes a race against time as they navigate dangerous territories and face unexpected challenges along the way. Miguel does not believe that Correa can do it alone. Sure enough, after Nina hacked Correa and his personal laptop, Miguel finds the most important information about those involved in the theft. None other than Gomes and his political friends. Miguel makes up his mind and starts preparing without thinking of the fact that he is facing corrupt officials and politicians who were responsible for the murder of his young daughter. Miguel puts on the same mask and kills them all. Another win for our hero. Nina's dilemma. Nina, grappling with the moral mistake of Miguel's actions, contemplated whether the person responsible for eliminating the corrupt politicians could be considered a hero. Seeking guidance, she approached her boss for insight into the situation. Meanwhile, Miguel, driven by his quest for justice, approached Nina at her workplace, requesting her assistance in uncovering the person behind the financing of the corrupt politicians' evil deeds. Initially hesitant, Nina eventually agreed to help, realizing the gravity of the situation. In return, Miguel promised to work towards reducing the sentences of Nina and her mother, who had been wrongfully imprisoned as scapegoats. With their motivations aligned, Miguel and Nina set out to expose the truth and bring those responsible for this corruption to justice. After a heart-to-heart conversation with her mother, Nina realized the complexity of truth and its subjective nature. She understood that perspectives could differ, and what might be true for one person might not align with another's truth. Motivated by this realization, Nina agrees to assist Miguel in his pursuit of uncovering the person behind the corrupt officials' financing. Determined to expose Gomez's involvement in the campaign and shed light on his corrupt practices, Nina and Miguel embarked on an intense investigation. They meticulously gathered evidence, dug deep into financial records, and followed a trail of illicit transactions. As they unraveled the intricate web of corruption, they discovered the shocking extent of Gomes's influence and the depth of his involvement. An alliance. In their quest for justice, Nina and Miguel encountered numerous obstacles and faced threats from powerful figures who sought to protect their own interests. However, their unwavering determination and strategic thinking helped them navigate through the dangerous maze of political corruption. As they closed in on Gomez, they realized that exposing his crimes would not only bring him to justice, but also serve as a catalyst for systemic change. Their mission became more than just an act of personal vengeance. It became a fight for the truth, accountability, and the restoration of faith in the political system. With each step closer to the truth, Nina and Miguel faced increasing danger. They had to outsmart Gomez's network of loyalists, who were determined to keep their secrets hidden. The stakes were high, but they were fueled by their shared commitment to justice. As the pieces of the puzzle began to make sense, Nina successfully hacked into the surveillance camera system, capturing Gomez and Regina's secret meeting. Meanwhile, Miguel, aware of the dangers he posed to those around him, decided to assist Edu in investigating the serial murders targeting corrupt officials. Edu revealed that the killer had given him the chilling moniker of the Awakener, a highly skilled individual trained in combat, stealth, and survival. Little does Edu knows that it's his friend. Concerned for Edu's safety and realizing the urgency of his own mission, Miguel urged Edu to take a break and postpone their joint efforts temporarily. Little did they know that fate had other plans in store for them. While Miguel set out on his own mission, Edu stumbled upon the Awakener's target, Minister Marta Regina. Edu, torn between his loyalty to his friend and his duty to protect justice, grappled with the weight of this newfound knowledge. With the lives of corrupt officials hanging in the balance, he knew that time was of the essence. As the story unfolds, the paths of Miguel, Edu, Nina, and the Awakener converge, leading to a climactic showdown that would test their resolve, loyalty, and the boundaries of justice. Edu then tries to contact Miguel to inform him of this, asking him to continue to the place where Minister Regina meets Gomez. But Edu couldn't contact Miguel, so he was left alone. When Edu got there, he met Miguel, who was awake. Miguel, not wanting to fight Edu, tries to run away from Edu's pursuit and is shot dead. Miguel immediately canceled his mission to kill Regina and left. After the harrowing encounter with Edu, Miguel seeks solace in Nina's presence. With her healing touch, she tends to Miguel's wounds, offering comfort and support during this difficult time. The next day, Miguel and Edu gathered their colleagues to present their findings and conclusions. With the evidence in hand, they unveiled the intricate web of corruption linking Minister Regina to Antero Gomes, the mastermind behind the campaign financing of the corrupt bosses. Determined to unravel the truth completely, Miguel and Edu decide to focus their investigation on Regina's secretary, suspecting her involvement in the illicit activities. With the support of their dedicated investigative team, they dive deeper into the secretary's connections and actions, leaving no stone unturned in their pursuit of justice. As they navigate the treacherous path of uncovering the truth, they must be cautious and vigilant, aware that their every move could be met with resistance from those who seek to protect their dark secrets. Together, Miguel and Edu form an unbreakable bond. Their shared determination and commitment to justice drives them forward. With each step, they inch closer to exposing the full extent of the corruption and ensuring that those responsible are held accountable for their actions. However, Miguel's boss soon arrives and rejects all the results of Miguel and Edu's investigations. The man also said that the investigation against Minister Regina should be stopped. This indicates that its owner received money from Gomez. Miguel is angry with his boss's decision and decides to kill Gomez himself. At the time, he was seen dining with senior government officials at the Gomez mansion. The boy seems to be there too, and the young man seems a little uncomfortable to be around these officials and politicians. After the boy is gone for a while, the young man meets his mother, who reveals to him that he is not ready to be president, but he wants to make his father proud. And when his father asks, he agrees. After hearing this, Gomez tries to calm and reassure his son, but little does Gomez know that Miguel is on the hunt. With a bang, Miguel kills Gomez's son. Even after the tragic event, Gomez, being the demon he is, uses his son's death as an opportunity to woo the public and name himself as his son's new presidential candidate. Using the emotional card, he campaigns for the president. At this time, it was discovered that Gomez also participated in the investigation of the death of his colleagues by ordering his lawyer, named Sequeira, to investigate. Eventually, Sequeira finds out that the Awakener had a friend. Believing that Nina and her master are accomplices of the Awakener, Sequeira kills Nina's boss. Soon after, Nina arrived at work to find her boss dead. Sequeira and his group had raided Miguel's hideout and launched a vicious attack. In the chaos that ensues, Sequeira manages to capture Nina, imprisoning her as leverage against Miguel. Miguel, now driven by anger and a determination to rescue Nina, receives the news of her capture. Fueled by a mix of grief and a strong sense of duty, he embarks on a mission to save her from Sequeira and his group. The arrival of the police at Miguel's hideout brings an unexpected turn of events. As they investigate the scene, Edu and his team uncover the shocking truth that the hideout was actually the hiding place of the Awakener, the elusive figure responsible for the recent string of crimes and chaos. With this discovery, the investigation takes on a new turn as the authorities realize the seriousness of the situation. The hunt for the Awakener intensifies, with Edu and his team working tirelessly to gather evidence and piece together the puzzle of the Awakener's identity and motives. Edu's heart sank as he picked up Miguel's cell phone, realizing that his best friend had been involved in the chaos and violence all along. It felt like the whole world was falling upon him. He was devastated and his trust was broken. As he scrolled through the messages and calls on the phone, Edu discovered a hidden side of Miguel that he never knew existed: the final showdown. In another scene, in a tense and striking moment, Miguel stands before Julia, his finger trembling on the trigger, ready to carry out Sequeira's orders. However, just as he is about to take the shot, Edu arrives on the scene. Edu, driven by his commitment to justice and his friendship with Miguel, steps in between them, desperately pleading with his best friend to stop. The two engage in a fierce struggle, their emotions and conflicting loyalties fueling their every move. Despite the intensity of their fight, they both consciously avoid delivering fatal blows, hoping to find a way to resolve the situation without further bloodshed. Meanwhile, Nina, who has been imprisoned by Sequeira, realizes that she has let her guard down and launches an attack, seriously injuring Sequeira. Miguel is later arrested for the murder of an evil boss, so Edu brings Miguel's ex-wife, hoping she can convince Miguel. His ex-wife said that if her daughter found out about Miguel's watchmaking activities now, she would be very embarrassed and not proud of her father. In a moment of clarity. In the prison television, Miguel learns that Gomez is leading in the election and is winning. This infuriates him, and he decides to escape the prison. In a surprising twist of events, just as Miguel is about to be questioned, Deputy Diaz, one of Miguel's bosses, reveals his true allegiance. With a sinister smile, he pulls out a concealed weapon, aiming it at Miguel. It becomes clear that Diaz has been manipulating events behind the scenes, using both Miguel and the criminal underworld for his own gain. But Miguel, being the skilled man he is, senses the danger and acts swiftly. In a desperate struggle for survival, Miguel manages to disarm Diaz and turns the tables on him. With a surge of adrenaline, Miguel fights back, using his training and instincts to outwit his former boss. As Miguel makes his way towards the heart of power, he prepares himself mentally and physically for the battles ahead. His target, the Congress building, the symbolic representation of the system that has failed him and countless others. With each step closer to the Congress building, Miguel's resolve grows stronger. There, Gomez and his fellow politicians happily celebrated the victory when Gomez beat Julia a few votes. Miguel proceeds to eliminate each of them in the building and finally confronts Gomez in his office. He tells Miguel that corruption will not disappear from the world because greed is a human trait. Miguel gets fed up with this and shoots Gomez to death. After killing Gomez, Miguel confronts Gomez. People surrounded him and pointed guns at him, but Miguel got there with good preparation and planning, and he had already planted a bomb in his car. Miguel pressed the bomb and the building immediately exploded, falling to the ground with Miguel. The next day, when the police and the gangs searched the area, they only found the mask that the Awakener was wearing, but the body of Miguel was not found. The film ends on a suspenseful note as the Awakener stands atop a building, preparing to take the shot at the target below. The audience is left in suspense, unsure of the Awakener's true identity. Was it Miguel who miraculously survived the explosion, or was it someone else who took up the mission to dismantle the corrupt politicians? This open-ended conclusion leaves room for interpretation, leaving viewers to contemplate the possibilities and draw their own conclusions. It highlights the complex nature of justice and the blurred lines between heroes and anti-heroes. The film leaves a lasting impact, prompting discussions and debates about the nature of truth, vengeance, and the lengths one is willing to go to seek justice in a corrupt world. The movie conveys a powerful moral message that greed ultimately brings misery and pain, not only to others, but also to oneself. It highlights the idea that corruption may enable individuals to influence both the legal system and their wealth, but it doesn't justify their actions. The movie suggests that there are numerous non-violent ways to fight for justice, emphasizing that lethal violence is not the solution. It encourages the notion that true justice can only be achieved through ethical means and by resisting the temptation of greed. Stay tuned for the next part of the story,